Comes to breweries, our next guest wants to create a film about it. Bill Streeter, St. Louis filmmaker, thanks for joining us. Welcome to KTRS.
Thanks for having me.
What's your plan here?
We're making a documentary about the history of brewing in St. Louis, but we're also connecting the history of brewing with the modern craft brewing movement.
Aha! So where are you in the process of this movie?
We're about, I would say, guessing about 75% done with production, and we'll move into post-production.
So I had a chance to spend some time in Germany and in the Bavaria area of Germany. And when you go there and you put two and two together, when the German immigrants came to America, well, of course they made beer. That's what they did in Germany, right? I mean, it makes more sense once you go and visit where they came from.
It's funny, in doing research for this thing, we discovered that Americans prior to the German immigration were not beer drinkers.
Yeah.
They didn't drink a lot of beer. And it took them a long time. And the only reason there was a beer market here for a long time, for about the first 40 years or so, was because there was such a large German population here. So, and it took them a while to sort of stumble on a formula or develop a formula for beer that Americans would actually drink.
Right.
So, I mean, it's hard to imagine America without beer now, but it's really due to the Germans.
Yeah, I mean, think about that for a second. I mean, and then it took years for that to sort of catch on.
Yeah,
right?
It did, yeah.
Who says advertising doesn't work? How do you connect that to the craft movement today?
Well, in St. Louis in particular, when the most number of breweries that we've known existed in St. Louis historically was somewhere around 40 breweries, and that was around somewhere between 1870 and 1880.
Okay.
And that's when we peaked. This year, there will be close to 50 breweries operating in the St. Louis region.
So we have more breweries today than we've ever had.
Probably, yeah. This year we will by the end of the year.
Right, yeah. And we're talking large, small, microbreweries, everything in between.
Just like 150 years ago or so, there'll be everything in between. There'll be everything from your neighborhood corner brew pub to the big, massive Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah. Now, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is a silly question. Well, maybe not. Did you have to test all of those beers that you were filming?
No, I mean, I enjoy beer occasionally. I'm not really I'm actually not that big of a beer drinker anymore. I sort of swore off beer a bit for last year or so because of some health issues. So
you decided to make a movie about it.
So I decided to make a movie about it. My friend Pokey Lafarge said, "Hey, you love beer so much, you got to keep it in your life somehow."
Yeah, right.
So when you're counting those 50 breweries, are you counting Craftig? Does that count as a St. Louis brewery?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
even though it's smaller and they brew it somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, and they do have. I think they do have. I mean, I can't speak for them, but I think that they do plan to open a brewery here at some point.
Right.
So,
yeah, I know they're looking, but
they're a local brand, and Billy Bush is the last Bush member of the Bush family.
Right,
still in the
but
brewing
he makes
business,
it a point to say this isn't a craft beer. We're trying to make this a national brand.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you're looking for some extra money to finish this project?
Yeah, we have a Kickstarter up. We launched on Tuesday. Doing really well so far. I mean, we're,
So if Kickstarter works, you donate money, and if you donate enough money, you'll be able to be an extra drinking beer in one of these scenes. Is that right?
We hadn't thought of that as a reward, but that might be
Not
a
a
good
bad
right.
idea.
I mean, there'd be a lot of people who would like to be in the documentary of beer in St. Louis, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't be such a bad deal.
So all we do is go to Kickstarter and.
Yeah, so if you go to Kickstarter, you can contribute anywhere from $1 up. We have rewards levels all the way up to $5,000.
Right.
So you can contribute in any. A lot of people like that $40 to $100 range.
Right.
And there's a lot of great rewards. Almost every reward level above $15, you'll get to see the movie. So.
And when's your estimated time of completing this?
Well, we have a date. We don't have a date exactly, but we're going to be premiering at the St. Louis International Film Festival in November. So.
You sound like Kelly Jackson. You don't have a date. See what I did there?
We don't have a specific date.
You too. What do we do the search for, though? Do you have the name of the documentary
if you look for St. Louis Brews or St. Louis Brews documentary, or if you search for STL Beer Film, our URL is stlbeerfilm.com. So if you go there, you'll find pretty much all our links there.
So you mentioned that it took a while for Americans to sort of catch on to beer, but now when you go to any one of these beer, either O'Fallon Brewery or any of the other myriad of breweries or the Tap House or whatever else, you can get any beer in the world.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing. I mean, there's more beer available today, in almost any city in the U.S.
Right.
Than there ever has been.
Yeah.
More varieties of beer, more styles of beer. You can find so many different styles today, and that's kind of a big difference between today and the past. A lot of people consider the craft brewing movement sort of a back to basics sort of thing, but
Right.
in reality, the craft movement as it exists today never existed before, ever, anywhere. So, and that's just a matter of, that's because they can get, they have a global ingredient supply. They can get yeast from anywhere. There's the internet where people are trading information and recipes and
Right.
ideas.
Right.
And the brewing community is really just there's a lot of camaraderie among brewers, even from different breweries, and
Right.
they're always tasting each other's beers. And
There's also something like Shock Top is owned by Anheuser-Busch,
Yeah.
which is, if you think about it, it looks like a
Mm-hmm.
craft beer. And I know people who drank it until they realized it was from a major brewing house.
Yeah.
And then they were like, wait a minute, I don't want it anymore because it's not craft beer anymore.
Yeah,
I
well-
mean, there's also a snob factor to this as
yeah,
well.
there is a bit of a snob factor. I don't think it's necessarily legitimate to be so snobbish about that. I mean, Budweiser itself was actually, when it was developed, was actually a really precise and a really unique brew when it was first developed in 1876.
Right.
And that was the beer that sort of opened up beer to Americans. That was the first beer that became widely popular.
So
in the
that was
US.
still considered German and yet was acceptable
Well,
to the
it was,
American taste
those
buds?
brewers were innovative. Those brewers in the 1800s are very innovative, not that differently than brewers are today.
Right.
The craft brewers today, they were
Yeah.
very innovative, and that beer was an adjunct brew, and it was nobody had ever really seen anything like it before, and
Right.
it's the true American style.
It's this beer. It's a movie about beer. Does pretzels come along with this as well?
I hadn't thought that far ahead, but
because
maybe we'll
Only
ship some.
liquid, huh?
Did they bring Gus's pretzels to America as well, or what?
I heard that Anheuser-Busch developed the Gus's pretzel beer, a pretzel flavored beer, and I think you can still get it at the beer garden right now over there. So
There you go. All right, good. Bill Streeter, St. Louis filmmaker, Kickstarter campaign. Just go to Kickstarter.com and search for
St. Louis Brews.
St. Louis Brews, and there you go. Bill, thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You got it.
Great.
It's 8:55 here, Big 550 KTRS.
If your credit card debt is out of control, if you're in over your head dealing with monthly payments, there's a powerful secret the credit card companies don't want you to.
Frank,
If you have more than $5,000 in credit card debt, you have the chance to settle
Frank.
for a fraction of what you owe. That's
yeah.
bad news for
Okay.
companies,
much
but it's
time I
great
got?
news
I
for
gotta
you.
come back, don't I?
We're
Yeah, this is the last 2-minute break. So do you just want to take one and come back and then get out at 58:50?
to see how much you
you
could
can-
save.
you can
Call
play it
now.
all, and I'll just come back and we'll talk to the top.
1-800-600-16.
All right.
Don't declare bankruptcy. Give us 10 minutes and we could save you thousands. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. Net debt. Live better debt-free. Find out how easy it is by calling now. For the secret the credit card companies don't want you to know, call Net Debt now and see how much money you could save for free. Call 1-800-600-1